Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Green Dragon Podcast. I'm your host Aiden, and I'm joined today again by my friend Tom Cintula. Tommy, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Had to get you back on. I had some fitness questions burning in my mind since the last time we talked. I actually, I've gotten in. I'm taking my fitness a little bit more seriously than last time we talked. Last time I think we talked, I was like half-assing some things. I don't know if I told you. I was kind of off the fitness wagon for a little bit, and not like, you know how, like, I don't know if you ever get like this, or you've ever been like this in your like fitness journey, where it's like you just kind of hit a wall, and everything's kind of like going like mediocre. If you know what I mean, it's just everything's a drag.
You have a plateau. Yeah, you have a plateau going.
Plateau moment. Yeah. Hey, Tom's on the podcast too. Hey, Tom, what's going on, man?
Tom's active. Let's go.
Tom's active. He's got 10x. He's ready to go.
Nice.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, Tom. I was just telling Tommy that we were talking about plateaus in the fitness journey, and I was saying the last time I think we had Tommy on the podcast. It was kind of like a dark point in my fitness. I've been since I moved to Atlanta from Chicago, which has about been a little over a year now. It just everything's been going mediocre. I haven't been taking programming too seriously, food seriously. Nothing's been going really well. Well, Tommy, at the beginning of February, I was like, okay, enough's enough. I started going to the gym. I was like, I have to go every morning before work, or at least at my lunch break, because there's a powerlifting gym right up the street, 5 minutes away. So I was like, I gotta go. So I got a membership there, and I said I have to go 5 days a week, every day at work, right? So I started doing that. I actually stuck to a training program. It's like amazing. So I've been going 5 days a week now since January. I think it was 26th. So. Dude, it's like after you hop back onto like a regimented program, and then like 2 weeks into February, I was like, all right, I gotta clean up my diet because I felt like the Christmas and holidays did not treat me well. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I consistently, since I graduated college back in 2021, I've consistently sat around like 198 to 200. Like that's just the weight that my body likes to sit at. But I've never really pushed myself. So it's like 198 to 200, but over the holidays, dude, I got up to 210. I just felt like a fat, lazy, like, you know what, like piece of shit, dude. I just felt so bad about myself. I was like so unmotivated to do anything. But I was like, all right, I got to clean up my diet. So I cleaned up my diet. So I'm actually trying to cut now.
Are you trying to cut?
Yeah, I'm trying to cut and just see where I can take it. The most shredded I ever was my sophomore year of college, and I was 169. I think I was somewhere around 10% body fat. So I was like, and I was strong then too. So my goal is to get somewhere. It's my goal body weight was to be eventually under 170 again, just to see what I look like under 170, but we'll see. I mean, if I look shredded at 180 because I think I've gained muscle since my sophomore year of college, you know, I'll be happy with 185. But we'll just see where it goes. But right now, I'm still gaining strength and cutting weight. I'm down to 195 now, so I've lost 15 pounds, dude. I feel great, and just like getting back into like a regimen. I don't know. It's like giving my days more purpose outside of just showing up to work every day.
Yeah, dude, of course.
It translates over to, I don't know if you're this way, but like if I have like success in the gym and success, like I feel good about myself, I tend to do better in other areas of my life.
I mean, that's why half the people that lift honestly lift in the morning. I feel like it's just a good jump start to the day and get your head straight, honestly. That's the way I look at it. But I personally don't lift in the morning. I semi like lift in the afternoon.
Okay.
But for the most part, like I'd recommend doing the mornings. I used to do that too, but that's awesome. 15 pounds is crazy. And how tall are you?
6 foot. So
Okay.
169 would be like crazy.
Yeah.
Um, because that would be shoot. I mean, that's yeah, 40 pounds.
Woo!
Uh, from 210. So I mean, it's a big jump. But I could lose 40 pounds. I think it's still, I think it would put me probably in single digits. But
I think you could.
I haven't been in single digits in a while. Probably since high school
That's
when I was
crazy.
running. Yeah, so we'll see.
I I think you're gonna have to switch up from CrossFit training then, man. I mean, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, because CrossFit you were primarily just trying to lift heavy weight, if I'm not mistaken. And putting on weight, makes that a lot easier for you. And
Yeah, the powerlifting. Yeah, so what I'm doing right now is I don't know if you probably sometime in your lifting career ran into this program, the Strong Lifts 5x5 program. Um,
yes. Yeah.
yeah, and it's what I used when I first got started into weightlifting back when I was 15. And I just kind of did that because it's easy. I do it 3 days a week, and then the other 2 days I'm doing bodybuilding stuff. Um, so yeah, he's gonna dip in and out. He's actually at uh, we won't say the name of the store Tommy works for. Tommy works for a sports performance and supplement store that's a three-letter word. And he's there doing a shift right now. He's nice enough to get on and and do a podcast with us while he's working. So, but yeah, Tom, what's going on, man? Are you how's your training going? I figured this is just gonna be our training podcast. We're gonna talk
Yeah.
about training. I haven't talked about training in so long. I'm actually really pumped about this.
Me too. I was excited all day to get onto here tonight and kind of hear what Tommy had to say and his journey. And um, things are coming along well for me. I've been studying a lot of like different high power and hypertrophy training sets. So I've been trying to do a split of doing like 8 sets. The first 4 being heavy, like 4 to 5 rep max, and then the remaining 4 being at 8 reps.
Nice.
And I've noticed that it's a good combo. I feel strong and pumped from the first 4. Then the last 4 is kind of like a cool down, but you're also engaging that hypertrophy session. So that's mostly what I've been doing. And then uh, and then after that, I've also been learning a lot more about creatine. I
Okay.
don't know if we'll share it in the notes, but it's from Barbell Shrugged.
Okay.
And apparently, creatine is like the best supplement you can take. Ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious to see what. I'm curious once Tommy gets back on, we'll ask him about it because I think he's got a experience. But from my understanding, creatine is the most researched and scientifically proven supplement you can take. It's got the most studies done on it, and it's like if you were going to take the way I look at like supplements. I'm not a huge supplement person because I think you can get a lot of it in your diet, but it's really hard to eat. Creatine's found in red meats, but it's hard to eat enough red unless you're getting like that. I think it's right around a pound of red meat a day. You're not going to be getting an adequate amount of creatine. So it's a good one to supplement with just to make sure you're getting it. And it's one of those that you have to take consistently or get it consistently in your diet. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of creatine. I do take away protein when I'm not if I'm like busy throughout the day to make sure I'm hitting a gram of protein per body weight. Or lean body mass, just to make sure I'm getting that protein in. But other than those two, I used to be a big pre-workout guy. I just telling Tommy, I was like, I gotta find a pump product to, a lot of those pump products have really good blood flow, like L-citrulline, L-arginine, some really good stuff to get like a good pump and get blood flowing into the muscle. and that can be really good. But I just drink so much caffeine now. I don't need the pre-workout, or I just don't feel like I need it to stimulate my workouts. I drink coffee pre-workout. If you're trying to lose weight, um, one of the aids you can help to lose weight is actually thermogenic, and caffeine is actually thermogenic, so it gets your metabolism, your heart rate running faster, so it helps burn. Um, it helps your body burn fat quicker. So especially if you're doing like a morning fasted cardio, drinking a cup of coffee before or taking a thermogenic is a really good way to like kind of shred away some of those extra pounds you got sitting on you. But there's really no reason you should need a pre-workout because you should be getting plenty of sleep. You should feel rested. You know, you shouldn't even get that feeling of needing to be amped before your lifts. And I found just doing a good solid warm up before you get into your main training session, get the blood flowing into the muscle groups you're going to be using is really the best pre-workout you can do. Because really that's the biggest thing is I think it's a big mistake a lot of people do in training. And it was something I did for a really long time. They just jump right into their program and not warm up at all, and not warm up the muscle groups they were going to be using that day at all. So I just do a basic warm-up routine. I use Matt Wenning. He's a powerlifter, world record powerlifter. I use his warm-up technique. It's called the Wenning warm-up.
Hey, we're back.
Hey, Tommy's back.
Hey.
Hey, Tommy, we're talking about creatine. What do you think about creatine?
It could be beneficial depending on what type of person you are. You know, if you like, if it depends on what you're trying to do, honestly. Like if you're trying to like lean out and cut, like creatine's not going to help out as much. It will give you the strength, but that excess water weight is going to make you bloated and all that. But there's like other forms of it. Like there's this product we have is CG5. CG5 is like a 5-blend creatine and glutamine, which helps out with recovery endurance. And the 5-blend of creatine really doesn't help out, or it helps out not bloating as much. So it depends on what you want, what your goals are. I personally, I'm taking that CG5 right now, and it helps out a lot, and I don't feel bloated. So,
yeah, I know. I like creatine just from the muscular endurance standpoint, and also just adding a little bit of extra strength to my lifts. I'm not trying to get on stage or look super shredded, at least right now. So I'll take that little bit of extra water weight if it gives me some extra.
Oh yeah, dude.
Plates on my lips, bro. Like,
Absolutely.
I'll take that. Yeah. We were just talking about supplements and like I would say like the main hitters for supplements, at least for me, are always like having on hand. I like a whey protein just to make sure you're hitting your protein, and just because it's not super, it's easier to digest than some of the other proteins out there. I like whey protein. It's easy. Like I go to the gym. If I need to quick hit a protein after the gym and I can't get real food, then I can drink protein shake. Creatine, and then like I was saying earlier, I'm a pre-workout guy. I love the stims, but I backed off the stims a little now that I'm drinking a boat.
Dude, that's what I've realized.
Yeah.
A lot of people who take pre-workouts have their tolerance to like the max. Like people are looking for like 400 milligrams, and
oh yeah,
some people don't even think that's a lot. Like it's a lot, man. Like
hey,
it's crazy.
Back in the day, I was pumping. I would do 2 scoops of C4 when I first got started, and I know, and and that was, and then there was a couple other high stim pre's that I was on, and I was easily getting in 500 milligrams in my pre-workouts. Yeah, no, I was pumping pre-workouts hard, and they were the high stim ones. Yeah, I burnt out, and I feel like it just trashes. Like a lot of times, it doesn't even help with the workout. You just get like stimmed out, and you don't really, you don't even get the focus out of the workout. So anymore, if I need a little bit of caffeine or I want a thermogenic, I just drink a cup of coffee before I go and train. As long as I'm not training super hard, if I'm doing cardio, I just drink a cup of coffee before fasting cardio, and that's plenty of caffeine, and that's a good enough thermo for me. But I am looking for that pump product to help me on the bodybuilding days, get those pumps back going. Because, dude, I don't know if people understand this. People that don't work don't understand the pump. And Arnold talks about the pump. And I don't know if you watched the video of Arnold talking about the pump, but
Oh, I
there
do.
is something euphoric, absolutely euphoric about getting a solid pump in and just the feeling of the blood rushing to the muscles. It is a beautiful, beautiful feeling.
Oh
And
yeah,
everybody should experience that because it is
at
something
least.
absolutely incredible. No, I totally love it. It's one of the greatest feelings on this planet, and you can get it every day in the gym. So that's my pitch for the. That's like if somebody's like, "Why should I go to the gym?" I'm like, "The pump." At the
Yeah,
very
always
least,
the
pump,
pump. Come
bro.
on. Yeah, yeah. The minimum is that.
Exactly. Hey, I know we got you for a limited time tonight, so I wanna hit some points. I want to talk a little bit about what got you started in fitness and your original motivation to start working out. Because I think for a lot of different people, the motivation is different. So, what got you started into fitness? What was that original driver, that original motivation for you?
Well, honestly, for me, like I was a really like small dude in high school. It was like my freshman year. You knew because you were there throughout the process. And I don't know, I kind of got bullied a lot. That's like probably one of the drivers behind behind it. And I just couldn't take it. I was like, all right, I had enough of this. It's like sophomore year. I'm like deciding to lift. So I lifted after school with the football team and I just worked for like an hour and a half, like just trying to do my own thing. Of course, I only worked like upper body, but like it's a start. And I didn't have like any like idea what I was doing at the time, but watching the football team train and coaches give me some help, I learned a little bit at a time. But like it was just like me also being like insecure, being short, skinny. Like I was on the track team, I was doing cross country at the same time, I just I didn't like it. I wanted to be big because I was seeing all these football players looking, jacked, and I was like, damn, I really want to be like that. So I was doing it for a while, and like I think junior year I saw a pretty good amount of progress. I think a lot of others saw some good progress too in what I was doing, but I didn't really start like my fitness journey until maybe like the end of senior year, and that's when I really started to like hone down on like focusing on my diet and like workout plans because I had a couple of people come to my life that like taught me that, and I mean, Aiden, you helped me out with my diet. We cook chicken in the backyard, so that's like honestly the first thing. Like the when I started dieting, that was like the number one thing I started was cooking with you. So I tried to adapt off of that, but I'm not Chef Ramsay, so I didn't do the best. But I'm working with what I got, and honestly, it's just from the start of high school, like I said, like just I couldn't take it anymore. I just wanted to be me and figure out how to work out, get big.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I think it's one of the. I think that's a driving factor for a lot of people. Is you just want to like feel better about yourself, and I think that motivation to make yourself better is one of the key and driving factors for a lot of people. And it was for me too. Just feeling better about myself, bringing about that self confidence. I think it's something that's a really big factor in why a lot of people start lifting and start working out. So I'm right there with you. Um, I think that's pretty much the main driver for most people. Um, yeah. So where you said you just got started with the lifting the upper body stuff, more the what I like to consider the bro stuff in the gym, which honestly, I a lot of people talk trash about that. Listen, whatever gets you in the gym and gets you going, I'm all for it, right? I think that's
Absolutely.
whatever keeps you motivated to get in the gym every day, do it. I think it's super important. But where are you at with training now? What's your training style? Do you have what are your lifts? Are you shooting for lifts? Are you shooting for a specific body weight? What are your long term goals?
Well, for me, I do the regular Arnold split. I've been doing that for a while now, and I've seen a lot of progress. I haven't plateaued, so I've been just sticking with that. My goals honestly are like to at least get to 160. I want to do a show this year, but I don't think I'll be able to do that because I have a buddy of mine who I consider my coach. He's giving me the heads up and saying that I could do a lot better and just wait it out until next year. So I'm roughly around like 150. I do want to be at 160 and then try to cut from there, and I think I'll have a good physique at that point. That's my goal in mind. So that involves like my diet, and my schedule, doesn't balance up with my diet. So I got to like work around it now. But I feel like 160 is a good start for the bulk. And when I cut, I'll probably be around maybe like 150, hopefully, with solid lean muscle, maybe around like 6% body fat. That's the goal.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. What diet seems to work best for you? What are you eating to kind of fuel your workouts and fuel your body for that?
Honestly, I'll be blunt with you. I really don't have like a consistent like meal plan of what I eat, but it mostly consists of Chipotle bowls, protein shakes, and whatever my mom cooks. So, because my mom's a chef, if you trust me cooking, you're out of luck. Let's just be honest. Like, I'll probably burn half the food that I make. But that's what I usually do. My mom usually makes pasta, so I usually have pasta with a little bit of protein with this chicken, and then like Chipotle bowls, breakfast. They usually have eggs and oatmeal with bananas, and yeah, it's basically like my diet, honestly. Like I usually have maybe like an oatmeal packet in the morning and then at night. And then in between I'll have like that Chipotle bowl meal or something with chicken. And then dinner, pasta.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, dude, that's a pretty clean diet. Do you try to hit like specific macros as far as your protein or carbs or anything like that, or is it just kind of eating more intuitively?
Yeah, I would say eating more intuitively. I haven't really counted my macros at the moment, but I am getting a food scale. I am going to get more serious into it. So for next year, if I do intend on going to a show like an NPC show, that's my goal, is to get real serious about my diet, because then it'll just keep me going. Figuring out like my macros and counting them actually like helps out a lot. I've done it before. It's just I wasn't as consistent. But my coach is really pushing me to do that, and I've had a lot of other people tell me they've had great success with it, especially with weight loss. So I'm gonna stick with that, and hopefully that works out.
Good, yeah, dude. I know. I'm counting everything right now, obviously to lose weight, and everything goes on the scale. And let me tell you, it's not fun, and it really, it really reminds you what you're putting in your body. And I'm like,
Yeah,
shoot, I can't eat that today. Like, even if it's something as like lame as like I can't eat that extra half cup of rice, because if I eat that extra half cup of rice, I'm gonna be over my calories, be over my carbs, whatever it is. I try to hit the 200 grams of protein a day just to maintain as much muscle as I can while I'm on this cut. So yeah, it's tough, man. When you're really breaking down everything you're doing, tracking. I use MyFitnessPal to track everything, and it can be intense. It's
oh,
a
we
lot.
can, dude.
It's a lot of work. It's tedious, but I think everybody. And I always recommend this to anybody that hasn't done it, even if you don't. I would say the first week you do it, just for 1 week, track everything that goes into your body, just to see where you're at. Don't even change anything. Just eat like you normally eat. Just track everything you're doing, because then you'll start to really get an idea. Okay, I'm not hitting my protein every day, or I'm not eating enough calories, or I'm eating too many calories, or I'm eating too many calories in this. Eating too many carbs and fats and not enough protein, whatever it might be. I think it's eye-opening for a lot of people. I don't think most people know what they're putting in their body. And I think that's what's holding a lot of people back from the body they want to achieve, the goals they want to achieve in the gym. So diet's a huge thing. I think it's overlooked by many when they're trying to get in shape, for sure. Yeah, it's a huge part of fitness. So if you're looking back on, sophomore year of high school, what's your young advice to yourself? Do you have any like regrets? What are the most important lessons you've learned over the past like 5 years, 6 years?
Ooh, that's tough, dude.
Yeah, like, dude, I know what I tell myself, but I want to hear it from you. I think everybody's learned something if you've trained or if you've taken your training seriously in the slightest.
I think something that I wish I did a lot more of is ask more questions, because I feel like if I ask more questions, I'll have a better understanding of like what certain things are. For instance, like pre-workouts and protein powders, like we were discussing, before the whole call. We, try certain things. Some things don't work out, some things do. But if you have someone who's like 30 and they've been in the gym a while and they look massive, you might as well ask them a question, what works for you, what have you done in the past? So I feel like asking questions would be a key. That I wish I did that in the past. I wish I was more aware of like my eating habits and my diet, because I definitely would have gotten a jump start to my physique. Also, I think maybe have someone who's like a coach, almost someone who's like pushing you, or like a training partner. I feel like that helps out a lot too. It depends on certain people. Like I was discussing about not too long ago with a buddy of mine. It for certain people, you're better off working out alone. Some people, people work out thriving together. So I say in the start, I would work out with a workout partner, so you guys push each other, and then see the progress.
Dude, absolutely. That's one of the things I wish I do well working out on my own. I always do much better and I push myself much harder when I'm working out with somebody, especially when they have similar goals to me. Always have been that way. It kicks me into this extra gear and I always push myself harder. Because I know somebody's watching and I know there's somebody there to hold me accountable to every set, every rep I'm doing. There's no excuses. And I've tried to get better at holding myself accountable, but it's always easier when you've got that person there that's also doing the same stuff as you. It makes a huge difference, I think. Hey, I know we don't have you too long, so feel free to shoot a message to me in the chat or on text if you've got to go. But a few more rapid fire questions here for you. I want to get your take on, we've talked a little bit about fitness. Obviously, all three of us are into fitness. What are your thoughts on right now? There's a lot of stuff going around on the internet, and I feel like there's a big push for this body positivity movement, like this anti-gym, anti-masculinity, toxic masculinity thing online. What are your thoughts on that? I just want to get your take because I think we're all coming from the same place. We all love the gym. And there's like a push to destroy that. There's people that literally think if you go to the gym every day, it's because you hate your body. And
Oh my God.
Dude, I'm telling you, there is. What are your thoughts on that? Because there's this whole body positivity thing going around saying, you look good no matter what. You don't have to put in any work. You're good enough for who you are.
For my point of view is, from my past, I've seen a dramatic change in my life just from even working out. I hate to break it to anyone who's like anti, gym, but it's a great lifestyle. Like, I don't know, I'd push people who are in those types of positions to actually get working out more, because people are more lethargic. They're not open-minded. There's like you become to like starting to have bad habits. There's health problems involved. People don't understand, like, you're going down the wrong path. Body positivity, I understand that, and people can be accepting of it, but at the same time, like, you have to understand, like, do you want to be a role model for your kids that way? Do you want to be like obese and like have your kids be obese? It's such a tricky subject to talk about, but like I've had like people in the past that I know, like friends and some family members that were like heavyweight, like and they didn't feel good about themselves. They weren't confident. They didn't want to like go out, you know, and that involves like affecting family life. You know, you want to have your whole family going out with you. You know, Uncle Jim's not going to be there for you because he's not feeling good about himself. So that's it. It's bigger than they think it is, and people are just, in my opinion, either jealous or they just don't have the motivation for it.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I think you nailed it there, man. I think people don't realize, and this is something, this is coming from three guys that I think all started working out to make, you know, to feel better about who they were, to be more self confident. The gym is a place for people that are broken and need to elevate their purpose in life. So I think it should be a welcoming place for anybody that's getting started. And being fit translates over into everything else in life. Being active, finding that discipline in the gym can transfer over into a lot of other things that will make you successful. And so my big thing is, if you haven't done it already, or if you're feeling down about who you are and you want to try to make a change, the answer isn't asking other people to accept who you are. I think you need to first accept who you are, and a lot of times I think that's found in the gym, in the Iron Paradise. You know what I mean? It's
Oh, dude,
it's
absolutely.
it's a beautiful thing, and once you start to recognize that, it's really freeing. Like, the gym isn't a place about judgment. It's a place for people to get better, and I don't think enough people recognize that. I think most people would be better off getting in the gym, putting in the work, and yeah, I think it's an answer to a lot of people's problems, I think, for the most part.
I agree with you, man. I think you nailed all the points on that as well. I think I agree with everything on that. But it's my time to head out. I
All right.
appreciate you putting me on the pod for today.
Yeah.
What's you and Tom?
Thanks for doing a little cameo appearance here. We'll get you back on. Enjoy the rest of your shift, and hey, um, people can check out your new podcast, right? Because the last time we talked, you didn't have the podcast going. You're trying a new podcast thing.
Yes.
Tanktoptom on YouTube, right? Is where you're
Yes,
gonna be
sir.
posting podcast stuff.
Yes, I am. Thank you
All
very
right.
much, dude. You're the one who motivated me to do it, so
All
I
right.
appreciate you for that.
Good. Yeah. Let us know if you need anything. Everybody go check out Tom's new, you're going to be covering bodybuilding stuff, right? Fitness,
Yes,
bodybuilding?
I am interviewing Mr. Ryan Wakely. He wants
Perfect.
to be a bodybuilder. He wants to get his IFBB Pro card, so check it
Awesome.
out.
Perfect. All right, Tommy. Thanks for joining us, and look forward to talking to you next time.
Yes, sir. You guys have a good one.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
All right, Tom. There was our little snippet interview. We didn't have him for too long. He's got to go sell some more supplements. The man's gotta go grind.
He's hustling.
He's hustling. He got on tonight, and I was like, "Where are you at?" And he's like, I'm in the middle of a shift right now. I might need to get it on and off to go help customers." So I was like, "Dude, you're awesome. Thanks for getting on. I appreciate you." So yeah, Tommy's out there hustling. But yeah, go check out his new podcast. Like I said, Tanktoptom on Instagram and YouTube. He's got some good content. So yeah, check him out. But yeah, Tom, I think I think everything Tommy hit on there, his fitness journey, his motivation for getting started in fitness, and then just kind of his thoughts on the whole body positivity thing. I think it's where most people that get into the gym come from. They come from like I don't know about you. I don't know if maybe we talk about our fitness journey here a little bit. But I think health and fitness is one of those things that is usually propelled by a feeling of inadequacy. And once you get into the gym offers a solution to that.
All right, we're
All
back.
right, we're back. We my internet dropped. But no, Tom, I don't know how much you heard me saying there, but I think what Tommy was saying is something that a lot of us guys that got into the gym can really resonate with, because I think a lot of this feeling of inadequacy can be remedied through the gym. And through working out and bettering yourself in the gym. And I think it gives a lot of people purpose. And that's something I think a lot of people are missing in their lives, which is why, they don't accept themselves for who they are. They don't accept their bodies because they're just not happy with it. And so they look to the rest of the society to say, hey, accept me for who I am. Accept me and all my inadequacies. But they don't accept themselves truly. So it's really this. I think it's something that can be completely reversed if you put in the time, put in the effort to better yourself first, so you feel better about yourself, you feel more motivated, you feel more inspired, and you just become more driven on a personal level. You know what I mean? I don't know. What are your thoughts there? Because at least that's where I came from when I first got into working out and getting fit.
Well, I agree with you like 1000%. I was, how I got into training was, so like you and I, we both worked for my dad's plant nursery, and I was there. I started pretty young, just helping around where I could. It was kind of like a fun thing to do after school. And I noticed that I always had to ask people to help me lift things. And one day I was like, no more. I don't want to have anyone else do my lifting for me. I want to be able to work and move whatever I need to move to get the job done. So that got me into training. I think I was 14 roughly when I really started to train. And ever since then, it's been like my bread and butter. You um, you really do find yourself in training because you see how you react to stress, especially when you're under heavy loads. You see where your mind wants to go, if it's going to say you can do it or you can't. And then the really fun thing is you can retrain yourself. You can say, no, I am better than this weight. I'm bigger than it, and it's not going to own me. I'm going to own it. Like, that changes from a victim to a dominate mentality, which I think is really important for all the guys in the world, because men need to know that they can overcome the obstacles in their life, especially those obstacles that seem insurmountable. But like I remember, I think it was a couple years ago, we were training one Christmas break, and we were all hitting our 1 rep PRs. I think it was with Tyler. And that was such a fun night because we were all hitting like super high PRs, and you hit it and you're like, whoa. I remember when I was looking at that across the gym at another guy, and now I just hit it.
Yeah.
And that does so much for your confidence, for your hope for the future. Because if you can see how much you've progressed physically, just think of what you can do mentally and spiritually and with your relationships. Like, it really is just taking on what you can now, do the most you can in the gym that day, and then do more the next day, and keep going. And you just build that momentum of being like, I don't know, what do we call a guy who's just owning it in the gym? The bro?
Yeah, the bro. I mean, yeah, dude, you're totally right. I think the gym is a beautiful place because it's you versus you, and that's what like people don't realize. People are always trying to compare themselves to other people, but really, when you're in the gym, you really got to think about it this way. It's all about pushing yourself to your limit, and you and only you know your limit. And this isn't a team sport where somebody else can pick up your slack. If you're cheating yourself in the gym or on your diet, you will directly see the implications of you cheating yourself. You won't hit the weight you're supposed to. You won't see the body transformation that you want to. So it is the true. It's the you are the person holding yourself accountable. You are your own self accountability, and the gym does not lie. The weights do not lie. And so you can half-ass it in so many other things in life, whether it's your job, um, your relationships, whatever, and you can skate by, but the gym will not let you cheat. Um, and once you set that goal, you can either quit or you can push yourself until you achieve that goal. And that's the beauty, I think, of the gym, is it is the true measure of accountability. And I have seen people that I know start, set themselves a goal and do amazing things and achieve that. And I've also seen people do the opposite. And I've been on both sides of that too. I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I went a whole year basically half-assing and screwing around and not really putting any effort into my training or my diet. And listen, this January I was sick of it, and I just said, you know what, enough's enough. Time to be more accountable. And that's what it's about. You're gonna have your ups and your downs. I've been training since I heard somebody make this distinction today. There's working out and there's training. Training means you're sticking to a program and a diet regimen. You could be going to the gym every day and just doing whatever you want. You're working out. You're not training for anything. You're not training. Training and working out are two different things. I'm not saying working out's bad, but training is the ultimate form of holding yourself accountable because you're training for something. And if you want to see yourself be the best version of yourself, you need to train. And I don't care if it's losing 15 pounds, I don't care if it's losing 5 pounds or 100 pounds, or, lifting a total of 1,000 pounds on your top 3 lifts, or 2,000 pounds. It's all about the training, right? So I think that's just something a lot of people are missing. And, when we're talking about purpose in the gym, that's what we're talking about. The gym giving you purpose. Once you start to hold yourself accountable for what you're doing in the gym, you'll see that same motivation and discipline transfer over into a lot of different things. And it's, like I said, it's you versus you. You just gotta wake up every day and do it. You might not have the motivation to do it. You just gotta have the discipline to do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, and I really like what you were saying there with the accountability, because it's one of the sole things that you can actually solely determine in your own effort. With other things in life, like friendship, sometimes you don't know if it's you or it's the other person, and you're trying to figure it out. But with the gym, you know it's you, and if there's like times when you say, "Oh, I maxed out," but you didn't, and you're kind of lying to yourself. And so having that integrity to say, "No, I didn't give my full on that one," really helps put in perspective where you are letting yourself down in other areas of life. At least that's what I found a lot. And it's also a place where you find, I think, like good aggression. I definitely fall on the side of timidity, so the gym is like my place to be explosive, to see what I can handle, what I can do. And I think it's good for guys to know that, because men need to know their strength and where they can apply it. And I think that ties into what Tommy was saying about the body positivity problem. Because if you are just accepting to feel terrible and look terrible is a good thing, and you're not able to perform and be there for your family and loved ones, then you're truly letting people down just because of your own laziness. Now, if you have a health concern, that's something different, but you can get those things addressed. And from what I found, every little bit of exercise is beneficial. Like, even if you're going for daily walks, that'll be so much better than just sitting around. And just walking most people can just get outside and do that. So it's like the idea of training. Like, what are you doing it for? Who are you doing it for? How can you use it to better other people's lives, improve your own? So, yeah, 100% with you, Aiden.
Yeah, I think, like you said, Tom, everybody can do something, and so there's no excuse for doing nothing. It doesn't matter how bad your day is going. It shouldn't matter, how tired you are. You can do something, and you need to find the time to do it. Because if you say, "Oh, well, I don't have the time," you're a liar. If you're saying, "I'm too tired," you're a liar. You can find time to do it, and you can find energy to do it. And anything else is an excuse. And you've got to recognize that. And listen, if you want to say, "I didn't do it, I was lazy," hey, that's on you. That's fine in my opinion, but own it. Don't come to me and tell me you're doing everything in your power to be fit when you're not. That's my biggest pet peeve, and it's something I've struggled with. I blamed my shortcomings in health and in fitness and trying to achieve my goals on other things that really shouldn't have had any effect or didn't have any effect on the thing I was trying to achieve. And so when you can, that's the true test. The gym doesn't lie. You gotta, it's gonna be hard. Like, it's just gonna be hard. No matter what your goal is, there's gonna be some days, even if it's a 10-minute walk every day, there's gonna be a day when it's raining outside, you're gonna say, "I don't wanna go on that 10-minute walk." But guess what? You better go do that 10-minute walk. You better at least walk around your house for 10 freaking minutes. Like, you can walk around your house. Like, I don't care if I live in a studio apartment in New York. I don't care. Walk around your studio apartment in New York. Like, come on, it is not that hard. Jeez. Yeah, I hate, and I realized for a while I was trying to help other people be successful in the gym, and I like helping other people be successful in the gym, because I think it's really amazing to see somebody come in, like Tommy, for instance. I remember Tommy said to me, I was working out at the time at Export Fitness in Batavia, Illinois, and I wasn't doing anything special. I was a 15-year-old that didn't know anything. Tommy came to me and he said, hey man, we were running cross country together. He said, "Hey man, what are you doing to do this?" And I said, "Here, just try these few things." I remember that. And I remember seeing him go from this scrawny little kid, and he got built quick. Like, it was impressive. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. It's cool to see people transform. But one of the things I've realized is not everybody has the same work ethic. And there's a lot of people out there that just want a quick fix. And listen, if you don't want to put in the work, that's fine. Don't put in the work. But don't come telling me that it's too hard or you can't do it. Like, don't make excuses. Stop making excuses. Nobody cares about your excuses. Nobody cares. I think David Goggins says that maybe. I think David Goggins says nobody cares. Work harder.
Probably does.
I think, isn't there a t-shirt out there, "Nobody cares, work harder"? Like, that should be the mentality that you have in everything in life. But it starts with your own personal accountability. Nobody cares. Work harder. There's going to be the days when you just fall short. It's going to happen. Don't let yourself get down. But work harder. Try to be a better version of yourself every day. And I think that's what the gym's all about. It's pushing yourself in your limits. And yeah, like I said, I've seen a lot of people that have come to me asking me for help. And they're like, "Hey, I want to lose 50 pounds. What's the quickest way to do it?" I'm like, listen, it's not hard. You eat less food and you train harder. Are you willing to do that? "Oh, yeah, I'm willing to do that." Okay, then what are you eating? "Well, I think I'm eating." No, there's no thinking. There is doing and not doing. So don't tell me that you think you're eating 1,600 calories a day and expect to have any progress. No, you need to weigh every single piece of food. "What about drinks?" Shut your pie hole. Shut your fat face. Drinks count too. They have calories in them. What about my Starbucks Frappuccino? It has calories in it. Are you putting it in your mouth? I want to know if you come to me asking to lose weight and you're not willing to track everything that goes into your mouth, then you don't want it bad enough. Period. You don't want it bad enough. And if you really want it, then you'll track the calories. You'll download the app on your phone and you'll track everything that goes into your mouth. And I think that's something that I struggled with a lot, and I still struggle with it, is, okay, well, why am I not seeing progress? Well, because I've been lying to myself. That meal I ate out last week, that's why I didn't lose the extra 2 pounds that I was supposed to lose this week. Probably it. The cheat meal I had on Sunday, yeah, that's probably gonna screw me. The 2 drinks I had on Sunday, yeah, that's probably gonna screw my progress. Know what you're doing. Like, know your training, know your diet, know everything. It's not rocket scientist. Like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. Literally, the people that are the most successful most of the time in the gym are the biggest meatheads and drop out of high school. I mean, if they can figure it out, you can figure it out. And I'm not like trying to bash bodybuilders here. They're not all geniuses, all right? And most of them would agree with that. But at least they can count a calorie. At least they can figure out what they're putting into their body, and they can figure out a training program. It's not about being a genius. It's about being smart. And like smart enough to be able to know at the very least, what am I doing and what am I not doing? It's not that hard. It doesn't take a PhD to figure it out. So anybody can do it. If I can do it, I mean, I'm pretty dumb and I can do it. I think most people can do it. All right. Like that's my 2 cents. Like, it's not that hard. Most people just want to make excuses. It's excuse after excuse after excuse if you listen to most people that aren't where they want to be. And hey, I struggle with it too. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I don't go through the same things most people do. I do it. I spent a whole year last year making those excuses. I'm not, you know, a perfect poster boy of perfect fitness and health all the time. So I just, it rubs me the wrong way, man. It's just laziness.
Well, it's really interesting how you said all that, because it's really making the decision. And Milo talks a lot about that. He's like, you're only one decision away from your new life. And it's a really powerful idea, actually, to think about. It's like one decision is it yes or no? And that's really the decision, is yes or no. And if you say yes, then you are able to welcome your future self into a better future. It's like if you're, so like a lot of people say, I think in a way they say it because they think there's something good and they know there's something good in this saying, but they don't really know why. So people say work harder. Well, the question is why? Well, it has to be a worth inside of the work and to make that working harder worth it. So like, if you're going to work hard, it has to be worth the effort into it. And what's the reward? And the reward is the meaning that comes from the initial goal and the desire to have it. Maybe to say it better. So like, you have your goal, and the goal means something to you because like if you have the goal in mind, that is a vision of your future, and in that vision you see something better, and that's a really good thing, and that is meaningful. So depending on what that future looks like, is in direct correlation of what you intend to do and to work towards that goal. So like, if let's say you have this goal of like 1,000-pound class, then 1,000-pound class is going to be your goal. And why is that good? It's good because you will be able to do a lot more every day, you have a lot more energy. If you have a lot more energy, you can translate that into other things in life, like being a better friend, a better father, a better brother, all these different things. And so that's why you should work harder, because of the good things that will come from the effort you invest in achieving your goal. And it's so good. It's really saying yes or no to that future. And if you're able to say yes and say yes constantly, then you will have it. More likely than not having it, because if you change your identity as a person who fulfills on what they say they're going to do, that's when you become unstoppable.
Absolutely. Well said, Tom. Yeah, it's extremely important to be a person that it doesn't matter what you're doing, but you have to have the why. Just you got to lay the why out there. I don't care if your why is I want to lose 10 pounds so I look good on the beach. I want to, get more fit so I can be there for my family. I think that's really what it's all about. It's about the why. If you have a why, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy, like I said, if you have a why for what you're doing, a purpose behind what you're doing, it makes it that much easier to stick to it and hold yourself accountable. And it could be being a more present, more energized person, a more confident person, a better father, whatever it might be. Do it. And when the days get tough and you don't want to do it, you don't want to go for your 10-minute walk, you don't want to track everything that's going around, think about your why and stick to it. That why will help you get through it. And you're going to have bad days, and you're going to have days where you don't do everything you need to do. But that's not an excuse to not do what you need to do tomorrow. And I think that's what a lot of people fall into. Oh, I had one bad day. Don't let that bad day define your week. You've got another, if you have one bad day, that means you have 6 other days that week. And if you're only working out on weekdays and you skip a day, that means you need to work out on the weekend. It means you need to do something, right? So there is no excuse for not achieving your goals other than, your own excuses. And don't let your excuses define you. And I think that's the biggest thing. I don't want to ramble on too much here, but I want to get a sense of where you're at right now, Tom. What are your training goals right now? What's your why right now? What are you training for?
That's a good question. I am training primarily to be a reliable person, because starting this business, I want to make sure that I'm putting in my effort and holding up my responsibilities and everything. And I also want to be the type of person that can face lots of hardships every day but still master them. And so I think those are like my 2 underlying ones. But I also really want to be, this may be controversial actually, but I want to be really good looking. I love
it. Yeah, that's perfect.
I actually read this really interesting article. It's by a guy named Jack Donovan. He does a lot of work in like understanding the masculinity of men. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he was talking about the idea of physiques, like bodybuilding in particular. And that is, he thinks that bodybuilding is a type of art, actually. So he was saying that the Greeks sculpted in like images of like, the Greek gods, and that was like their archetypes of what a person could look like. And that has been celebrated for thousands of years. So his point was, well, what if we became the living archetypes that also inspired others of what the human body can look like? And so I think that's a pretty powerful argument. And then one step further, a pretty big step. Then my brother was telling me that he thinks that we should really try to look good because we're temples of the Holy Spirit as Christians. And the temple should look really beautiful because of what it's housing. It should in some way reflect the goodness that's inside of the temple. And so I think if you take the responsibility of looking good and looking healthy and being healthy, then that's actually part of your responsibility as a Christian to show others that you understand and you live out what you believe. And part of that belief is that you are a temple of the Holy Spirit and that you intend to give God to others. And I hope you, yeah. I think it's also really good. I've thought about this a few times, but your looks and how you dress, how you look, your physique, how you carry yourself, it's primarily an invitation to others. If you look good, like when you're in a suit, or ladies when you're in your dresses, that's like saying, hey, give me attention because I'm worth your attention. And you should be. You should be worth other people's attention. And you want to deliver on that attention that you should be giving to others, and they should be giving to you, because humans on earth are like the most valuable thing here. And so if you're able to show that you understand your own value and how you look physically, then I think that says so much about the actual person you are inside. And so that's been a big driver for me. I really want to be the person that is like an archetype so other people can feel inspired. And then I'm also a question away from helping them if they want any help or advice. Like you were saying, Aiden, it feels so good to be able to set people on the right path.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I think being an example of truth is a very important thing nowadays. And you know, even just from a physical appearance standpoint, if you're a person that looks put together, it takes care of their body, values how they look, how they appear, and the health, kind of the more health aspects, you're setting an example. You're inviting other people to also have that same success that you're striving for. So yeah, I totally agree with you there, Tom. So what's to be able to achieve those things? What's your training regimen look like? Is it what's your split? Do you have a program you're running right now to achieve some of those goals?
Yeah. So I try to work out 5 to 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Usually train from 5:30 to 7, and I usually do powerlifting main set every day, possibly 2, depending on what I'm doing. And then I supplement that in with auxiliary movements. So my powerlifting sets, I usually do the first 4 with like 4 to 5 reps, last 4 for 8. Then do the strength training in the beginning and then hypertrophy in the end. And then my auxiliary exercises are usually 8 to 12 reps. Same idea for hypertrophy. I try to do those very controlled to maximize muscle growth, because I was learning from T Nation, that's Testosterone Nation, that the primary way of gaining strength and size is using as much fast twitch muscle as you can, but you're moving so much weight that you move it slowly. And they say that's like the optimal training procedure.
That's really interesting. Are you building your own program, or is it something you found online? I think that's where a lot of people struggle with, is like finding a program that works for them. Are you using a preset program, or is it something you just kind of put together?
I've been putting a few things together. I just did most of a program I've done a few times called Thunder Bro. It's by Dave Libson, and he was in CrossFit for a while, and then he's gotten into bodybuilding. And his wife was Camille LeBlanc-Lazier, and she won the 2014 CrossFit Games. And then since then, she's gotten into bodybuilding. But he definitely brings a lot of fun and energy to the training program. But he has a lot of different training cycles you can do. I've been looking at getting onto a shredded program. It's like a 30-day, I think it's called Muscle Anarchy. But I did use that as like a base layer, and then I've been learning other techniques. So I've been trying to hybridize some training methods.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think there's a lot of info out there. I think the best way to find the program that's right for you, at least what's worked for me, is figure out what training style you like. If you like the bodybuilding stuff, stick with the bodybuilding stuff. That's great. If you like powerlifting and lifting heavier weights for lower reps, find a powerlifting program. If you want to mix, there's power building, there's CrossFit, there's all sorts of stuff out there. But if you're a beginner in the gym, just mess around with a bunch of different stuff and see what really feels best for your body and what style of training you like, because ultimately that's what's going to keep you in the gym, which I think is the most important thing. And then once you figure that out, there's so much info out there. Like if you're looking for a good powerlifting program, there's a bunch of free ones on Elite FTS's website. You can literally just look up Elite FTS beginner powerlifting program, intermediate powerlifting program. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff out there. Just my biggest thing is find a program and stick with it for at least 16 weeks. And no, that doesn't mean do half the stuff on. If you're just getting started, don't do half the stuff on the program and then skimp out. Like, use that as a template to make yourself more accountable when you're first getting started, because it's really easy to say, oh, I don't want to do that exercise, and then you just kind of like find some exercises that really don't work. Do the program for what it is, and then once you start to get that experience, like you're saying, Tom, you can kind of layer things in. But even the best of the best don't typically write their own programs. They're getting it from a coach that's writing the program for them, and they're sticking to the sets, the reps, the rest periods, all that. So it's not, like I said, not rocket science here. Find the style of training you like, and then stick to a program for a while and just see what it does to your body. I think one of the biggest things for a lot of people, and this is kind of a pet peeve of mine, and I fall into this sometimes, don't expect immediate results. Results come over a long period of time. Don't train for the short term, train for life. Training should be something that you do from now till the end of your life. And that doesn't mean pounding yourself into the ground every single day for the rest of your life. It does not mean that. Do something that's going to be sustainable. Do something that you're going to be able to, be happy to go into the gym every day. And it's going to build on top of itself. So if you see success in one thing, it's going to get you more motivated to go try that next thing. And that's something I see a lot of times that people do, is they get discouraged because they don't see immediate results. They didn't lose, every, maybe their goal was to lose a bunch of weight and they didn't lose it all in 16 weeks. Don't worry. It'll come. Like, you can still lose that weight. You're not prepping for a show. You're not prepping for a competition. Most people aren't. So you're not under this superficial time duration. That 16 weeks in the grand scheme of things is a drop in the bucket if you train for 20 years. So just take it one step at a time. Um, it should be a long-term goal. This is something long-term that you want to do. And that your goals are going to change over time. You might start out with the goal of getting shredded and getting a six-pack, and that goal might evolve. So it's one of those things. I think people get way too hung up on the time period and the results they see during that time period. You should push yourself as hard as you can, but at the same time, recognize that that first training program you're going to run is not going to be the perfect one, and you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and those are the mistakes that are going to bring you into the next. You're going to be better that second training program you do, and that third training program, and 20 years from now, you're going to be looking back and you're like, I was a newbie, right? And you'll start to build that momentum over time, and that's something I think that's really important. People want the quick fix. There's nothing quick about being a healthy individual for life. Dropping 20 pounds in 5 months is not going to help you 5 years from now, because you're probably going to gain it all back, because you were looking for that quick fix. I mean, look at The Biggest Loser. It's something that I think 60 or 70% of the participants gain all the weight back that they lose, or more. And so you have to look at this in the long term. This is something I'm going to do for the rest of my life. How can I make this the most sustainable thing possible? Because like I said, there's a lot of people, I can't tell you, almost everybody that's come to me says, I want to lose 50 pounds in the next 6 months. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's awesome. Like, great. I'm glad you've got it, but why? And usually it's, well, I want to look better. Okay, so you just want to look better in 6 months, and then what happens after that 6 months? And most people don't think that far ahead. They're like, well, I don't know. I'm like, okay, so what if you gain that 50 pounds back? And they're like, well, I won't. I'm like, yeah, you probably will. If that's the extent of your planning, you probably will. You have to look at this as a long-term investment. This isn't something that's just gonna magically fix all your problems. So that's my biggest thing with training is it's like, okay, let's be sustainable about this. Let's look at this as a long-term endeavor, a long-term investment, something you're going to stick with for the next 20 years. If you might not think you're going to want to be in the gym for the next 20 years, but let me tell you right now, once you get that like that bite, once you're infected with the gym disease, you're going to want to be in the gym for the next 20 years. So let's just take it one step at a time. Let's look at this for the long-term endeavor it is, and just get started with something. And I think too many times people overthink this shit, and it's not that complicated, and you really just gotta, it's a constant evolution of your goals and what your why is going to change. So just stick with it. Yeah, this is like super general training advice. I love talking about this stuff because I think taking care of yourself physically really helps you become the best version of yourself. And I think that's what this is all about. It's all about becoming the best version of yourself. And it all starts with being more accountable to yourself and holding yourself more accountable for what you're putting in your body and what you're doing with your body to make yourself a better person. So I think fitness is a beautiful thing. It is, you might not think it's applicable to you, but guess what? It should be applicable to you. It's applicable to everybody, and everybody has room to grow. And you see these people, like my favorite thing is always the preppers that are like fat and out of shape. And it's like, okay, well, if I had to bet on myself versus you in a scenario where we're both trying to survive, I'm going to bet on myself, because I feel like the more physically prepared you are to take care of yourself, the better off you are, health-wise and with all these other things. It starts with your own personal self-accountability. And like I said, the gym doesn't lie. I think it's a great place for people to learn who they really are and try to better themselves.
I think you're totally right, Aiden, because wherever you're at in life, you can always get better again.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you're older or younger, um, the time to start is now, because then the future that you'll have because you started now will be that much better. And it's always the same. Like if you have a future, you can always make it better.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Yeah. Um, I think that wraps up pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. But I think we'll do more of these in the future. I'd like to get in more depth on things like training programs, diets, supplements, all these different things. This is just kind of a general overview of all of that, because I think the more important thing here, the big lesson to learn is, okay, where can we all start in becoming better versions of ourselves? And the gym offers something very real and tangible when it comes to that. So that's kind of the point I wanted to get across this week is there's hope for everybody out there. There's a solution, and you just have to man up, suck it up, and work harder.
Yeah. And great things happen from that.
Absolutely. Yeah, start holding yourself accountable, and trust me, if you start holding yourself accountable and putting in the work, you will be amazed with the things you can accomplish. Truly amazed. So, yeah. You have anything to add, Tom? I think we're gonna sign off for this week. But
I think that was pretty good. I mean, I really enjoyed our conversation, and it was great to have Tommy back. Always fun to talk with him.
yeah, Tommy's a great guy. It's good to have him on the show. He's a smart guy when it comes to all this fitness and health stuff. I don't think he gives himself enough credit. But yeah, again, if you want to go check out what Tommy's doing, he's all over the internet. He's on TikTok. He's on all those things, even though I don't believe in TikTok. Go check him out, Tanktoptom. Go check out his podcast, because he's going to try to bring out a lot of good info there too, and more detail. So yeah, if you're interested in more of this content, leave us a comment. I'd love to hear what you want to hear about next. Obviously, we've got some plans for future podcasts, but I'm always down to talk about training. I think it's great. So I'm sure this won't be the last. But yeah, if you haven't done already, go check out our Apple Podcast. We're live on Apple Podcast now. I got it set up, believe it or not. It took me like 4 months to figure out, but hey, we're live on Apple Podcast now. You should, if you're sick of listening to us on Spotify, or you don't have Spotify and you're sick of listening to us on YouTube because it's a pain in the butt to listen to a full-length podcast on YouTube, I don't blame you. Go check us out on Apple Podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts now, so subscribe. Leave us a rating. There's ratings on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We have 5-star ratings on both right now. So listen, keep bringing in those 5-star ratings. I love to see them. Leave us a comment. Leave us a review. I love seeing them. Yeah, like, follow, subscribe on YouTube, all our social medias, the Green Dragon Podcast. We're gonna try to keep bringing you great content. Next week, look out for the next in our Foundations of Freedom series. We may or may not be talking about the Civil War. I'm excited about it. I've been looking forward to this for a while. So it's going to be the first in probably at least a 2-part series on the Civil War. So I'm excited to bring it that, because I love the Civil War. Civil War has always been super interesting to me. So I'm really excited to bring you guys that. We'll put that out next Friday. That will be airing. So if you're looking at a calendar, you'll be listening to this podcast on Friday the 10th. So that Foundations of Freedom podcast will be coming out on the 17th of March. So look out for that. I believe actually, is that St. Patty's Day? I don't know. Somewhere around there. But But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I know I did. And yeah, this week, be a better version of yourself. Push yourself harder. Don't make excuses. Change something little in your life that you don't feel good about. Whether that's not exercising, not dieting right. Do something to be better. Do something to be better every single day. So with that, hope you all have a great week. Be safe, be smart, be a good neighbor, but most importantly, be a good American. Peace.